Hey, everybody, I'm John Granado, and that's Lance Zierlein. You can hear us mornings on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. Hit subscribe if you haven't yet so you get all of our content here at SportsMap HOU. Lance, let's talk Texans draft, okay? Number 3, number 13, and number 37. Best case scenario, realistically, you would be very happy with the 3 guys that the Texans would walk out of this weekend's draft with.
I think the best case scenario is, and I think there is a possibility of this happening, is Aiden Hutchinson at 3. And I think that would happen if Ike Ekwonu goes 1 and Trayvon Walker goes 2. Then you got a scenario where Aiden Hutchinson would be sitting there at 3. I think best case scenario, the Texans then make a move to jump into back into the top 8 picks with their 13th. Trade some draft capital from next year that they're going to get from the Browns to move up and maybe flip-flop with a team like Atlanta and take either Derek Stingley or Sauce Gardner, maybe even trade with the Giants at pick number 7 to make that happen. And then at 37, I'm okay with Breece Hall, running back. I just think that for me, I think in that position, I might rather have a safety. If Jaquan Brisker was there, I think he would make the Texans a better football team. What you'd be doing in essence, though, is putting 3 of your first 3 picks on the defensive side of the ball. If that were the case. Now, for me, John, I don't have a problem with that. I mean, just find good football players. You and I have talked ad nauseum about the fact that their roster is just full of non-impact players at the highest level. So they need good football players. And if you want to load up on one side of the ball and help Garrett Mills help Davis Mills by simply playing good defense and allowing him not to have the pressure of scoring a bunch of points, then I'm okay with that as well. But I think that if you go all the way back to 13, then all of a sudden it's just a little trickier because you probably don't have cornerback there. You might have Kyle Hamilton at pick number 13. I don't think you'll take corner at 13. I do think you could take safety if you stay at 13, and you might have a wide receiver like a Drake London, who I wouldn't draft there personally. I don't rate him as highly as maybe some others do. I could see a scenario where the Texans trade back with a 13th pick potentially and go searching for Chris Olave later in the draft, but many more teams want to trade back than trade up.
Let's be clear about this, though. What are you giving up to move up to number 7? Not next year's Browns first round pick.
No, next year's. Don't you have is it a second or a third coming from the Browns? I'm trying to recall the other picks you got from the Browns. So not next year's one. No, if you want to clear that up, absolutely not. You don't have to trade in this year. You do not have to trade another number 1 to move up from 13 to 7, 8, not even 6. Like that's not the going rate right now.
That's good. Now, what is the likelihood that it is Ike Ekwonu at number 1 to the Jags?
It's tricky. I brought that up. I've been hearing that. We had Tony Pauline from Pro Football Network on where he talked about it. And we've heard the same thing, that the head coach wants the offensive lineman, Ike Ekwonu, and that the general manager wants the pass rusher, Trent Baalke. And so you got a scenario now where we'll see who wins out on that, or if one side gives in, or, I'm very curious to see how that works, because that could have a long-term impact and long-lasting impact on the relationship between head coach and general manager. I think that I still think it's probably 60% Trayvon Walker first, and then Ike Ekwonu a smaller percentage. But if the brand new head coach came over because he wants to have greater input into who's going to be picked, especially with that first pick, I mean, the first thing he's going to want to do is help out his quarterback, because Doug Peterson is an offensive coach, and you got, Trevor Lawrence over there. And I think the idea would be, hey, let's help Trevor Lawrence as much as we can. And the best way to do that isn't pass rusher. It's going to be offensive line.
So Kyle Hamilton, you mentioned at 13. We've seen him as high as 4 in mock drafts. Yeah. Evan Neal, not even talking about him anymore now. We saw him as high as 1, 2, or 3. These guys, why are these guys falling?
Well, Kyle Hamilton ran slowly, and that's a problem at a position where you're responsible for covering such a massive swath of the field. So that is a concern for teams. He ran a 4.59 on a fast Indianapolis track at the combine. He came back and inexplicably ran again at his pro day. I mean, if you couldn't look at those times at the combine at every position group and tell that was a really fast track, then I don't know what to say, because what he did was he came back at his pro day and ran even slower. And so now we're dealing with a scenario where you've got a safety who has some speed concerns, and that is what's going to cause him to fall. Evan Neal has an issue, I've been told, with his knee. I don't know how substantial. I know another team who has him on the draft board, right, where they think he should be, and they don't have any concerns with medical. So if he falls a little bit, it will be because of a knee, I think. And if Kyle Hamilton falls, it's clearly going to be because of speed concerns.
And Jameson Williams, if he's any chance he's there at 13.
Yeah, I would take him if he's there at 13. I'm getting to the point now where I don't think it's going to happen.
Watching his tape right now, his workouts look great.
Yeah, he's the best player on tape last year. And then when you look at his John's talking about his recovery videos that Rocky Arsenault, his agent, put out, I believe. Shout out to also Bill O'Brien's agent, I believe. What you have is a player who is moving up the boards, like, and when I say moving up the boards, we're catching up with it. I don't know if teams ever had him more mock drafters. We had Jameson back in the 20s, and he's going to miss a whole season because of an ACL. Well, he's the best receiver of this group when he's healthy, and I really doubt he gets out of the top 11 right now. So I think Jameson Williams probably won't be on the board. I do think Drake London's going to be on the board. I think Drake London may be the third wide receiver drafted. I think it may go Garrett Wilson, Jameson Williams, and then Drake London. So, and I have heard that the Texans, there's a team that told me that Garrett Wilson, that the Texans have been digging around on Garrett Wilson. And they said they felt very strongly that was the case. Now, I don't know if he's not going to be there at 13. I don't think so. That might be the Texans potentially poking around for a trade up, and maybe they will trade up. Who knows? Maybe they come out of here with Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson, which would completely I'd be surprised, because this entire time I thought it was going to be about the trenches, offensive line, defensive line. Maybe they'll surprise us and go cornerback, wide receiver.
That's just going to be Thursday night. And that's the preeminent draft expert right here on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. Don't do that.